All right, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Follow Don44. That twitch.tv Don44. Follow me. We're doing Studio44. We're going to be talking with War on Thursday today. We're going to be going over our top 10 underrated and overrated games. We're going to discuss both. Chat will be able to chime in and give us their overrated or underrated games, and when we can get to them, we'll get to them, and we'll go from there. So we're gonna get War in here. We're gonna start talking this up, and we'll Google each game as we go through them, and so chat knows what we're talking about, and going from there. That seems accurate. All right, so let's get into this. Undeafen. Hello. Gotta make sure if I gotta turn you down or not. Probably.
Check 1 2 check.
Holy shit. I have you at 6% now. Give me another check.
That's fair. Check 1 2 check.
That's better. Okay. Chat, can you hear him fine? Because I'm pretty sure he just blew your ears up when he did did the first check 1 2. Up a bit more, please.
Like away from my fucking face too, so.
Turn him up a little more. Laugh my ass off.
Did you seriously?
Car Six.
Did your Sockball account just followed on?
No, I'm pretty sure that's Cardboy's alternate account, Car Six fanboy.
Oh, that's fair. That makes sense.
How's he now, guys? Let me know. We'll make sure he's. That's what we use to check car stream stuff. Nice. Sounds good. Okay. All right. So we'll go from there. All right. Underrated, overrated games. I have to pull my phone out because I wrote my list down on my phone, so I didn't lose it at work. Do you want to start with overrated or underrated games? Chat, you choose. We'll let chat choose that one. Overrated games. All right. Coco wants to start with overrated games. So, War. Give me an overrated game of yours in your top 10 list.
An overrated game.
Yes, sir.
God of War.
Oh my god. Ugh. How dare you. Now, God of War, the PS4 one?
Yeah. Oh, and yeah, Coco, I mean, Dev Studios as a whole, I mean, if all their games are in the same sort of genre, then yeah, I mean, that's fair.
Yeah, I would. I mean, sure. I'm not really going to pick apart Dev Studios. Just kind of what our personal thoughts are on some games that are fairly popular that we believe are overrated. So you think God of War is overrated? Why do you think God of War is overrated?
So I feel like, and this is in general, yeah, and kind of what Coco just said. So I think really that whole Assassin's Creed, Devil May Cry sort of single player like platformer that's not a platform, like there's not really a whole lot of innovation. Now, I'm not saying anything against the story, because the story was awesome, and it's been, well, most of the God of War games have been awesome, but like I don't think it brought anything new gameplay wise. I think that whole like genre has been languishing for a while now.
Okay. Well, okay. So I've been in love with the series since my brother introduced me when he rented God of War 1 at Family Video. And when we were staying at my dad's house for a weekend, and I haven't been able to put it down. The PS4 version of the game to me brought in a whole new feel of gameplay than what the old hack and slashes had. There were still elements of that there once you got the Blades of Chaos and stuff, but the whole axe it felt so much different to be able to throw that and like leave it and then fight with your hands if you wanted to. I'm not 30, fucker. I am 28. And yes, I used to rent games because I was fucking poor and I couldn't buy them. Thank you for making me feel like shit. Carboy, you're always toxic and know how to make me feel good inside.
In fairness, back in like 1872, when we played video games on like the rotoscopes or whatever the fuck they were called, I mean, I'm older than Don. If that's the point of that joke.
Yeah. Well, Coco asked me if I was 78. You're dick too, Coco.
Yeah, I saw that.
To be fair, you did some...
yeah. So I mean, I think that from like a story perspective, yes, like it definitely deserved all of the praise.
Mm-hmm.
But was it like game of the year? Like, I don't necessarily think it brought anything revolutionary to the genre.
Well, not to the genre, but to games itself, it did. Because it was all one continuous camera shot.
Well, okay, that's fair.
The cutscenes weren't cutscenes; they were in-game. Like those were built into the game. It wasn't like, all right, here's a cutscene, like black screen cutscene. It was right into the cutscene, right back into the game. Like the cutscenes were built into the engine, not rendered in a video file.
Oh well, I mean, games have been doing that for a long time.
From what I understood, this is the first game that really did that.
Like, I mean, I think Witcher's been doing that like since The Witcher existed. So,
from my understanding, this is the first game that did the whole game in one continuous camera shot.
Well, one continuous camera shot, that's a little different. I think I feel like the latest Tomb Raider games had something similar. But that goes back to my point. Like, I mean, obviously, Lara Croft is Lara Croft and Kratos. But, to me, they feel very like similar from like a gameplay perspective. I mean, in God of War, obviously, you're smashing people in the face with an axe, and Lara Croft, you're trying to be more stealthy. But
no, I would definitely agree that in this one, I can see where you get that feel of this. It's Lara Croft, because it's. I mean, in the PS4 version, in the older games, I don't feel Tomb Raider-ish at all.
No, but at the same time, yeah. So at the same time, like God of War, like defined that genre, and then you had follow-ons like Devil May Cry and things like that. But
what I love about this one, though, is that they took the same hack and slash type genre and made it into an open world game.
Yeah, but you have to really like. It's like God of War Skyrim. And yeah, Uncharted is basically
Tomb Raider. It is
Tomb Raider with
a male
whatever's. Yeah, it's the same fucking game.
So we're talking overrated games. Let's talk. You mentioned Skyrim. Skyrim's on the top of my list.
I don't disagree with that at all.
I mean, what game needs to be remade 15 fucking times? We remastered Skyrim. I mean, when you have
Carboy, I got Skyrim on my fucking refrigerator, dude. Come on.
Right. So when you have Bethesda, the studio that made Skyrim, poking fun at how many times they've made Skyrim, you've made it a little too many times. Like, just stop. Skyrim, like, they're like, it was coming to the Echo. Like, no.
Well, I mean, that was April Fool's, but still, like, but at the same time, like, Bethesda. So Bethesda, unfortunately, I think is, aside from all the Todd memes, get all your Todd memes out now, guys. Like, but, like with Fallout, like they had better come up with something really good because they can't milk Skyrim forever.
No, they can't, and they better hope that whatever they come out with for Elder Scrolls 6 is championship material that competes with Skyrim.
I mean, Skyrim Grandma is going to be in Elder Scrolls 6, so that's a day one purchase for me, obviously, just for Skyrim right now.
Right. So I mean, that's Bethesda. I mean, Bethesda's kind of like Coco was saying with Rockstar. They've they were such a great studio when Oblivion was coming out and stuff like that, but now they're just kind of they're overrated. They're they have so much hype behind their games that when their games fail, they fall hard. They'll open up into a new game, fade to black, and just straight back to Skyrim. I also wouldn't put that past them either.
Yeah, Elder Scrolls 6 will actually just be a 4K remaster of Skyrim.
Exactly. Yep. So,
So we'll get to Cooch's question. So what about the last Fallout can we say was overrated from the beginning? Literally everything. Are we talking about 76? Yeah, or 4. 4 is a different story. 76 had the hype machine going and then completely fell apart.
I don't think 4 was overrated. I think 4 was because I loved Fallout and I love Fallout 3. I didn't really care for Fallout 76 or not 76, but Fallout New Vegas. I played it, but I cheesed the fuck out of that game and I went into areas where I wasn't supposed to go and killed people. And I was like, I don't understand.
Yeah, 76 is the West Virginia one. That was the multiplayer one. Everything was broken. So, like a little bit of background about myself. I do development not for games. And then in a previous life, before I started getting into development and professional services, I was a QA engineer for about 6 to 8 months. I can't remember exactly. And the fact that game ever went gold just blows my mind.
Right.
There would have been there's no way anyone could have looked at the QA reports and said, "Yep, this is good to ship. Let's ship it."
Okay. Yeah, no, I completely agree. I didn't play 76. I wasn't really in the mindset to play 76 ever. I didn't think it was going to be good. I didn't think it was going to be good because of the way ESO played out. I'm not a fan of Elder Scrolls Online.
Yeah, so Elder Scrolls Online was on my overrated games list. Well, it was at the bottom of my overrated games list. I just figured I'd start out the gate with God of War because it was kind of. I figured it would be.
It won a lot of Game of Years, so that makes sense. It makes sense. I love it to the death of when I will love it until I die. So that will always be. It'll be overrated or not. It's one of my favorite games. One of my favorite franchises.
Yeah, I think that the pivot away from the. So you know what? I think I'm gonna call. I don't know if this is like what its official term is, but you have like it's basically a 3D platformer.
Mm-hmm.
When you talk about like original God of War, Bayonetta, Devil May Cry, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
The move away from that 3D platform, I think, was a good move.
Yeah.
PS4 God of War.
Yeah, I agree. But like when you're talking about platformers, like I have two on my list, right? Would be and they're to me they're overhyped and I don't understand why people would want to play them again. The Crash Bandicoot trilogy and the Spyro trilogy.
You shut the fuck up. Get out of here. I'm leaving the chat. I'm leaving the call. No. Aside from the nostalgia bomb that you get from playing Spyro or Crash, it's the same reason people play Mario over and over and over again. It's the completionist. So if you're not like 100%er, like I can understand why you don't like those games.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. Like it's not like and I want to this is for the YouTube video. This is for chat. None of these, like I'm not saying these games are bad. I'm saying that to me that they're just overrated. I don't see the value in Crash Bandicoot or Spyro. There are people like War where it's a nostalgia thing where you enjoy that. That's where you can go back into that, you can relive that life. For me, I don't give a shit. I played it once. And I'm not looking back to go to it because I've already played it. I know how the story goes. I'd rather them come out with a new Spyro game that's not Skylanders and fucks up Spyro's look. Like if they would have brought out a new Spyro game, like this is Spyro, right? Here you go, and like Crash Team Racing. Why? Why do we need a Crash Team Racing? Like, no one.
Why don't we need a Crash Team Racing?
Because go-kart racing is for fucking Switch. Like, it's Mario Kart, man. Just put Crash in Mario Kart. They'll be happy. People will be happy. Cooch asked about what about DC Universe. So DC Universe Online. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would consider that overrated.
So my knowledge of massively multiplayer online role-playing games or MMORPGs ends at Middle Earth Online.
Okay.
I think it was the last one that I played, and then I got adult, which for you guys was back in the heady days of 2005 or 6 when you guys were
when I was a freshman in high school.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, I guess I look at DC Universe Online like kind of like what WoW is. WoW I wouldn't say is overrated. I mean, people love it and it's their niche, but I don't think it's overrated because it's not, like it's drawing in everybody to come play it. DC Universe Online, I will agree to an extent, Coco, had its troubles at its start, but when I stopped playing it, it was tailoring itself to be a better game. But it's, to me, an MMORPG is something that you have to have a niche to be able to get into, and you have to like the lore behind it.
So, and I think this goes back to almost every overrated game on both of our lists, and it's the principle that you can only make a first impression once.
Mm-hmm.
So if you launch a game and it's not solid, the people that bought it and got bitter are never coming back.
Mm-hmm. Right. I mean, I have DC Universe Online. I have it. I can download it again on my PS4 and go play it if I wanted to. I just don't have. I mean, I don't have the want to go play it right now. I mean, because it's not something that I can. I don't think it'd be a good stream game. And most of the time when I'm streaming, I'm playing my games. I don't have time outside of stream to play video games anymore because I'm trying to split between my commute to work and my family life. So I don't have time other than when I'm streaming to play video games. It's just games that have a lot of stigma around their name. You consider overrated, Donna? It's not. I mean, no, it's not. No, I wouldn't think that. I mean, it's just games that in my opinion, I think are overrated. That people think are the bee's knees. That I think I would rather have a newer version of the game, or like God of War wasn't on my list because it's a brand new game. To me, it's not. I mean, but it's my game. I enjoy this game wholeheartedly. So I would play it. I would play it all day long if I could. But it's not a good stream game, so I don't get to play it that often. I beat the story, but I don't get to play it that often. So it's just what I feel is like. For me, it's overrated. It's not that this is going to be overrated for you guys. This is just my top 10 list.
Yeah, and full disclosure, there may be overrated games that I like.
Right.
And I just think that like they got way overhyped and didn't really deliver, but it doesn't mean I don't enjoy playing them.
Right. So like for me, it's not on my list, but I can edit it out and take one of them off because I said Spyro and Crash at the same time. So I'll take Spyro off my list and put Rage on there. Rage was overhyped when it first came out, and it failed miserably. I'm surprised they're doing a Rage 2. Honestly. Rage 1 was not what it was like, what they said it was going to be. It to me, it was dull at the start. It wasn't fun to play. I didn't enjoy Rage 1. But I'm excited. I mean, Rage 2 to me has more appeal to it. And then I also look at Rage 2 and Far Cry New Dawn and go, are they the same game?
Yeah. Well, so I do really thoroughly enjoy what is it? So you have Far Cry, but then you have what is those games that had like an 80s pastiche slapped on top of them? Was that Far Cry?
It wasn't. No, I mean Far Cry, where it's like the tie-dye type stuff.
Oh, Blood Dragon. Blood Dragon was so good.
I don't know. I don't know Blood Dragon. Oh, okay. I don't know if I played this.
Yeah, so it was basically like Far Cry spoofs 80s action movies.
Okay.
And it was brilliant.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it like stopped taking itself so seriously, which I think was really, really cool. And honestly, that is like one of the best things that like game studios can do is like once you stop taking yourself so seriously and start having fun, like you make a fun game.
Right. So, and that's so Coco said every Far Cry, in his opinion, is promoted and hyped to be different, but they're all essentially the same since Far Cry 3. Which this is where I'll be completely honest. I played Far Cry 2 back when it first came out with my friend, because it had multiplayer and he bought it and brought it over. We played it for a little bit. I didn't play much after that. I bought 5 and I enjoyed the shit out of Far Cry 5. So that's why I got New Dawn, because it continues that story and I want to continue that story and see what happens after what happened in Far Cry 5. Cooch asked, "What about the new Pokemon games?" I don't play Pokemon games, so I will not comment on Pokemon games. I cannot say if they're overrated. I don't think they're overrated. I think they're just the same niche crowd that's essentially getting into them and trying to get their kids into them. Pokemon Go, I again didn't play it, so I can't really. I don't think you. I mean. Was it popular? Yeah, I don't think he was overrated. It's people enjoy going out and it gives them a reason to walk around. So I mean, I don't know. War can probably he knows Pokemon probably better than I do.
Why do you even say that? Why would you assume that I know more about Pokemon than you do?
Because okay. Let's look at the games that you play compared to what I play. You play Heroes of the Storm. I don't. I mean, you're into more of those types of games. Isn't there? Don't you?
Hold on. Let's be real for a second. There's a whole side of my Steam library that you guys don't even know because I don't stream it.
Because it's hentai porn and you can't stream it.
But no. So I did play Pokemon Go for a while, but I think it's interesting. I find it more. It was weird. Like it was on your phone, and it did like force you to get out and walk and whatever to hatch eggs and stuff. But it was strangely more of a social game. Like I found myself walking, so like going to the beach, and because we had to get the water Pokemon or whatever.
Right.
Like we would get a bunch of people. We'd go down to the beach and we'd walk, up and down the beach and get ice cream or whatever with a couple friends and like find the Pokemon that were there that weren't near my house. So like it was a weird thing, and then it got very kind of boring very quickly, and I don't think they rolled out updates as fast as they needed to. Yeah. So to Cooch's point, like it was a flash in the pan, and they didn't capitalize as quickly as they should have to expand capabilities and expand like the roster. So you had people that blew through effectively everything in less than a month, and then you had really like 6 to 9 months, I think it was, before any substantial update that came out. And
Right.
that is like that is death to a video game like that has any sort of like uh, microtransactions.
Right. I guess to me, I don't look at a flash in the pan as an overrated as a you could have a flash in the pan that's overrated, but I don't think that if it's a flash in the pan that it's overrated. I mean, because a flash in the pan could be an underrated game that all of a sudden, no one really talked about, but then all of a sudden somebody picked it up and they're like, "This game is amazing, check it out," and then the word of mouth gets around, and then it flashes in the pan, but then it dies off because it's not gonna get a sequel, so it's dead, because if
Yeah. So that's the Cardboy brings up an interesting point. Like, uh, you see this kind of with some of these VCs and things in Silicon Valley. Because I don't know how many people here from California have been to the Bay Area. The Bay Area doesn't have seasons.
mm-hmm.
It's pretty much like 75 all year round, and
Right.
then some months it rains and some months it doesn't. But it doesn't. There's never like sort of a bad time of the year where it's okay to go out and walk around for an extended period of time. And yeah, it's an interesting point. Like, what happens when you have like where I live, where you can walk out and about for like 10 months out of the year, but 2 months out of the year it's like 90, 95 degrees and 80% humidity, and if you walk outside for too long you literally die.
Right.
So
So Kuch is saying, well, if a game got all this hype before it dropped, and then it's a flash in the pan, how is that not overrated? I don't remember Pokemon Go being all that hyped up before it dropped. From what I remember, wasn't Pokemon Go like, hey, we did this, it's available now, kind of like Mario Go was. I guess this is where, when it comes to Pokemon, I don't fucking pay attention to it, so I don't know if it was overhyped or not. I mean,
so it wasn't like, it wasn't advertised. It did, yeah. But the thing is, like, if you paid attention, um you had acquisitions of certain people and certain assets and things like that, that if you put the pieces together you could see that something Pokemon is happening.
mm-hmm.
um because so Pokemon Go was originally this other, uh it was like a scavenger hunt sort of game.
Okay.
So what's funny is if you go to all like the Pokestops were like sites of like the scavenger hunt in the original game, and I can't remember the name of the original game, but they basically just lifted that, put a new layer on top of it, and then you had Pokemon Go and added Pokemon.
Right. So I mean, sure, Cooch. I guess for you it might be overrated, but for me, who doesn't, I knew about it as soon as it dropped. I didn't know about it before because it was just one of those games that I wasn't paying attention to. And if an article says anything about Pokemon, I kind of just scroll on by if I'm reading through IGN or something. I don't look at those because I don't give a shit about Pokemon. And it's not because I don't like Pokemon. I just never got into it. It was just something that it never interested me to care about.
Yeah, Pokemon for me was, it really got big like 1 or 2 years too late for me. Like I was already like late tweens, early teens when Pokemon came out, and it was like you had some people in my age cohort that really got into it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then people younger than me, like my brother was super into Pokemon. He's 4 years younger than me.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but for me, it was like something that I missed. Like
Yeah.
I never caught the wave, and it just went right past me.
Yeah. For me, like Pokemon for me is the same thing as like Magic the Gathering. I didn't get into Magic the Gathering because I didn't care for it. I was fucking 6 when it came out. Ha ha ha. Okay, badly fed. um how come there isn't Digimon games? There are Digimon games. You just they're not they're if you want to talk about that, they're underrated in your eyes probably because they're not talked about. There can only be one. Evan fight. Evan,
So
no, I don't want to fight. You fight to the death.
So let's get off of Pokemon and go back to let's switch a little bit and talk about a game that you think is underrated, that you like, and a lot of people are like, oh, that game's trash.
Okay, so for me, this is a deep cut, but I really enjoyed the mechanics and not so much the story, but the mechanics and gameplay of Brink.
Brink. Okay, that's one that rings a bell, but I don't think I ever played.
It was a Bethesda shooter. That came out in 2011, or id Software, or what it was. Bethesda was the publisher, but id came out with it.
I recognize the cover, but never played it.
So it had parkour and stuff in it, and
okay,
it was the character creation was fun. It had a
Peggy 16.
Ooh, that's loud. It had a crap storyline, and was a very short story as well. I'm just gonna mute it because we don't need to listen to it. But it was to me, I just enjoyed it was more fluid. The combat was more fluid, so it was just kind of like you could just run, and it's an FPS competitive game essentially, and that had story mode elements built into it. So it was kind of like Destiny 2's. To me, what I would compare it to would be like Destiny 2's Gambit, and then or like Overwatch, where you protect the thing from enemies and stuff like that. Like it was just, to me, it was different compared to what every other shooter was out there, and I enjoyed parkour, because who doesn't like parkour? Parkour.
Yeah. So like I agree with other Evan here that like just from looking at it, because I've never played it, but looking at it, like you see elements of that are like really super popular badly. So,
Mm-hmm.
So you see like elements of other games that are like super popular now, and things that you're like every FPS game should have, like sliding. I don't know if they do any wall running.
I don't know if there's wall running. I don't remember.
Running. I don't know if you could like climb up walls and stuff like that too.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like that stuff was like you'd never really play a game with that now. And to one of my games that that I was gonna bring up. No, Mirror's Edge came out before that. That was deep cut on N64. But I think again, like that's one of those. Was that N64?
Mirror's Edge?
No, that was. I'm thinking of a different game. Perfect Dark, I think it was the game I'm thinking.
Okay.
Of. But yeah. So Mirror's Edge was like one of those games. I think it was sort of ahead of its time. Like I don't think anybody.
It never thinks to learn.
I don't think it got the appreciation it needed.
You're saying Perfect Dark?
No, Mirror's Edge.
Mirror's Edge. Oh, Mirror's Edge was the parkour one, right? With the
where
you the messenger,
not combat focused. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it was to me. It was kind of like it's kind of like what's the game? The Super Hot, the VR game, where it's not like you're not very combat focused. You're not trying to get hurt. But and then you have to break the or you have to hit the bad guys, and it was just I enjoyed it, but it kind of got boring after a while because it was I think too different at the time, and then I never played number 2, even though I heard it was good.
To piggyback on this though, Dark Sector. If you want to bring that game up, like if Dark Sector didn't do, and it sold super poorly, but the fact that it sold at all allowed the dudes from Warframe Digital Extremes, I think,
Okay.
is the developer, like to build Warframe, and there's a lot of Warframe in Dark Sector, which is just awesome.
I don't think this is one that I've heard of.
Yeah. Like if you watch this and you go like, oh, that's definitely Warframe. Like, what's going on? You're like, yeah. So a lot of Warframe's DNA is in this game.
Oh, like how he's turning into a Warframe himself.
Okay, listen.
He's legit. Every time he comes back, he's just morphing into a Warframe. I'm pretty sure he's gonna be the the main Warframe that you get.
He just runs through the game just shouting Warframe.
Did you?
So that right there. That is the Excalibur skin. Like, yeah. So if you pause it there, like that is almost a pixel perfect.
It is.
Yeah, that's Excalibur.
The
so
prequel to
even some of
Warframe.
the assets made it up through to Warframe, but this game never got any of the praise or whatever. But again, like if this wasn't made and didn't sell the little that it did, I don't think Digital Extremes would have had the ability to go on and make Warframe, which is one of my favorite games.
Yeah, I like the voice actor they have, Michael Rosenbaum. Nice, nice deep cut to Smallville there.
Oh yeah, who's Lex Luthor, right?
Yep. Yeah, this is
yeah. So even like the Glaive is definitely even another Warframe.
Yeah, that's okay. This is you said Warframe, and I was thinking like, okay, it's gonna be like somewhat like jumping around, but then all of a sudden his body is actually Warframe.
Shut up, dude.
So I mean, okay, so we go underrated, right? That's where we're going now. So we went with Brink. And these ones, so they got sequels, right? But they kind of stopped just all of a sudden after the last one. The Army of Two series. I think for co-op play, that game is so
co-op play is awesome, but like the Mimi jokes, like in that game, like my I was still in college, I think, when that game came out. And like the back-to-back memes that my buddy and I would just like, because I had a roommate at the time, and you trying to go B2B, bro? Like it's the dumbest shit ever, like honestly. But at the same time, it was pretty fun for just some brainless entertainment.
I think, I mean, I just loved the aspect of, and I feel like they didn't get the love for what they did for co-op gameplay in shooters, and like the different mechanics that they had. I think I love the aggro engine in it, and I think the aggro engine kind of helped out with the future of shooters, because
that game was like almost unplayable in single player. Like,
oh, it was difficult as fuck unless you're playing on easy and you're like one tapping everybody.
And yes, badly is correct. I still throw down the you trying to go B2B like to this day.
I mean, it needs to come back. They need to bring Army of Two back and not be just couch co-op.
That's something I honestly miss, man. Like,
I miss
co-op was so fun.
So I miss couch co-op too, and we're gonna go back a little bit here, where Cardboy, Car, and Cardboy was sticking up for it, but Coco and Car were saying that Borderlands is overrated.
Yeah, you guys need to get the fuck out of here.
I mean, the game delivered though, and is just widely loved by everybody.
Yeah, so I think we may need some clarification from them. Like, are we talking about overrated from the fact that it was hyped and didn't really deliver, and you're salty about the end of Borderlands 1? Because that's a fair point. Like, if you're salty about the end of Borderlands 1, a lot of people got real salty about the end of Borderlands 1. So I was at a cookout this weekend, and actually this topic came up where a couple of buddies had already gone through all of Borderlands 1 and was like, yeah, dude, we got to get you through to the end. And they all hyped up like, the ending is so good. And my buddy finally made it to the end and the vault opens and nothing's there. And he was like, you motherfuckers, you hyped this up so much and it's nothing.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like, I'm super excited, and I'm trying to debate on what system I want to get it on. But I'm like, the fact that they remastered Borderlands 1, so you can bring it back out, like, and you can play it again, because like it was left on my PS3, and that thing hasn't seen the light of day since I got my PS4. Like, I missed that game, but I missed the couch co-op, and then the fact that they added 4-player co-op into the remastered version is just ridiculous. And the fact that you don't have to be couch co-op, you can still, my friend can be at his house, I can be at my house, we can play together. Like, I just love that aspect of Borderlands, and then I don't have to worry about PvP, but it's still a fun FPS game to play and to get through. PC, let's run that shit together. I mean, maybe badly fed. We'll see. I don't know if my PC is it's beastly, but I feel like it at the same time struggles with running games and streaming them at the same time.
Before we move on to the next game, can we talk about the designer for Brink was named Edward Bongo Boy Stern, which is probably the best nickname ever for any human being that's like living this earth.
I mean, that is not overrated. That is an underrated nickname. The fact that he is not a well-known designer, that like people are like, oh, that's a Bongo Boy game. Bongo Boy game, man. The Bongo Boy was part of the team that made this, man. Like, the fact that
shit, is that a Bongo Boy deep cut?
Yeah, like the fact that that name is not widely known, where we just reference him as Bongo Boy, is redonkulous. Underrated. I need to learn where he earned that name. I'm guessing he loves to play bongos.
One can only hope that it's the literal meaning of the word bongo.
So yeah. So what's one of your underrated games?
Underrated games. Oh man. I don't. This list was like super tough to come up with, and I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't have 10 for each.
Mine are super deep cuts. I'm not gonna lie about that.
Go ahead and give me another one then.
Okay. SOCOM, U.S. Navy SEALs series.
I feel that's like sufficiently popular. I feel that's like thoroughly rated. Like, you know how you can be like overwhelmed and underwhelmed? Can you just really be whelmed?
Right.
But I was like whelmed with that game. Like,
right, but where they just stopped making them, like they just stopped after Confrontation, right? I believe it was the last SOCOM game. This was another one where I enjoyed so I also feel like these games kind of led to what we have in The Division, Ghost Recon Wildlands, where it's the four, like you have the team that you can control if you're playing solo, or it's you and your friend. But I remember these games, you still had 2 extra people even if you had co-op. So
so to be totally honest, SOCOM, I feel, if my memory serves, was really a riff from the original Rainbow Six, which was really the same sort of game, except you're Rainbow Six, you're not a Navy SEAL. You could set up like your plan of attack before the mission started, and then you could control your teammates as the mission was going on. Things like.
So I'm not gonna lie here. I did not realize that they had a SOCOM 4 come out, or did I remember? I could have swore the last SOCOM game that I remembered coming out. So these two, the SOCOM Fireteam Bravo 3, The last one I remember coming out was Confrontation, and the reason I remember this was because I didn't realize that it was online only. And but it came with the Bluetooth headset that was for the PS3. And I got super pissed because I was so excited to play SOCOM, and because I remember the PS2 versions of SOCOM, where it's I think it was SOCOM U.S. Navy SEALs 3 and 2 that I played. I think it was the first 3 that I played, and you literally just get to walk through a story mission, and you get to kind of tell the team where to go and take things out. I got Confrontation. I was like, I got my PS3. I'm gonna, Confrontation. Let's get it, and fucking online only, and I didn't have internet, and I was like, motherfucker, are you fucking kidding me?
That's fair.
I was like, I don't have internet. I can't play this, and I was so excited for the U.S. Navy SEALs game, and it fucked up my dreams. But I didn't realize they came out with 2 more after that.
That's how underrated they were. They went right under your radar.
Right. See, that's so underrated games. SOCOM was a great series. They fucked it with Confrontation. I don't know. Maybe they fixed it with these 2, but evidently not, because it died.
I mean, you can buy it 99 cents on eBay, bro.
Yeah. So. No, I don't. I don't have a PS3 controller. My brother lost mine.
Savage.
Right. I loaned it to him and he lost it. My red controller is gone. I have no idea where it's at. So we'll just keep going through my list, I guess. Titanfall 2, I feel, is underrated.
Oh, I got nothing to comment on that. I completely agree.
So I mean, it's a great game. I disagree. You disagree that Titanfall 2 is underrated? How? I mean, Respawn fucked Titanfall 2 by releasing it in between Call of Duty Infinite Warfare and Apex was signed to be the successor. Right, but Titanfall 2 was underrated. It's a very good game if you go play it and you use the...
Yes, it's a very good game that not a lot of people have played.
Right. I got it for $11 and I enjoyed the shit out of it. I just have no one to play it with, and I don't like playing that kind of game by myself. The Kane and Lynch series, I thought were... the first one was underrated. Wasn't really, it was kind of like, oh, this seems different, The second one was a little overrated, but I think that the way that it died and then didn't come back with anything, like, we were promised these movies for it, and we never got the movies, even though video game movies usually suck. It was just something, the Kane and Lynch series I thought was great, but it just died too early. Did I lose war?
No, I'm here. I got nothing on Kane and Lynch.
Gotcha. I put down Dante's Inferno. I think the reason Dante's Inferno was underrated was because it came out in the wake of God of War and all of its glory.
So if we talk about the original the topic that we had brought up where I said God of War, the PS4 is an overrated game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like even if this was developed shortly thereafter or even concurrently with God of War,
mm-hmm.
It was released after and felt like a Me Too.
Right. That's why I think it's underrated. It's a great game, great storyline, but it's got that cookie cutter God of War feel, and that's what people were like, it's just God of War, but just reskinned with something else. And I was like, but it's not. But it's not. It's not that way. Oh, let's see. What other games do I have on here? Oh, let's go back to overrated for a second. Metal Gear Solid.
The whole franchise?
The whole franchise. Overrated. Hey, come check out my great game and watch 17 hours of fucking cutscenes.
I mean, that's fair, but at the same time, I think the Metal Gear games are true to what they are, and they've kind of, I mean, except for like the first couple, they've always been that way. But
Right.
that's really
I don't,
like his style.
and that's where I don't see why they get that much love. Because to me, like, I'm playing a game to play a game, not to play for 2 minutes and then watch 10 minutes of a cutscene. Like, I want to play. I don't want to watch him do the stuff that I want to do. I want to do the stuff that I want to do.
Yeah, so like I feel like Kojima is definitely
Hey.
like he I think he approaches video games more as like an art form than he does a video game. Like he wants to tell a story and like make a movie, but with video game characters.
Right. Well, like I said, like we've said throughout the whole thing, this is just, I just feel like in my mind it's overrated. It's not my type of game. I don't play them because I get tired of watching. I don't want to watch a movie. I want to play a video game. I want to get lost in the world, to not here play a little bit and then break the immersion. It's what it does for me. Badly Fed's asking about Final Fantasy.
Yeah. So there's a couple games that I don't know necessarily if I would call it an overrated game. But thanks, Eric. So Final Fantasy 13 was the one with lightning, right?
I have no idea.
I feel that's right. Overhyped, overrated. That was basically one giant series of cutscenes, and you did like 10 minutes of stuff in between. Final Fantasy 15, I think, was just it was too ambitious and didn't do a whole lot. It didn't make a lot of sense, but they have a giant cup of noodles in it, which is that's cool. I'm down with that. So like both of those are overrated, and then I think you have underrated Final Fantasy 9. So Final Fantasy 9 was like a total callback to the original like Final Fantasies 1 through 6. Really, where you had like the crystals come back, and you had like you haven't even fucking a black mage in it, which was awesome. And then they just completely went away from that with the later Final Fantasy games.
So for me, Final Fantasy is another one of those Pokemon games where I just ignore it. If someone says Final Fantasy, I'm just like, not for me. When I was younger, my first like introduction to Final Fantasy, what turned me off immediately was the turn-based game. And I don't like turn-based games. I've been adamant about that since watching Final Fantasy. I remember one year for Christmas I got a Lord of the Rings game that I didn't realize when I asked for it for Christmas that it was a turn-based game. And when I found out that it was a turn-based game, I took it back. And I was like, this isn't the game that I thought it was.
Can we talk about how good Shadows of Middle-earth though are? Or Shadows of Mordor? Yeah.
Those
games are dope.
The PS4 games?
Yeah,
those games.
Well, I think PS3 too, but yeah.
Those games are dope. Yes, 100%. But it was a PS2 game. I think it was Battle for Middle Earth. I thought.
That sounds right.
Turn-based game. Let's see. The Third Age. So badly fed is right. It's the Third Age. I took it back. I played it for a hot second, took it back. I was like, nope, this is not what I was expecting it to be. Days Gone. What, Art? What do you mean? You have no context there. I love you, but what do you mean? But yeah, so Final Fantasy for me, like, it was just I've never seen the hype around it because I was like, the gameplay is boring. It was just, that will be the game this month. What do you mean Days Gone will be the game this month? Oh, the overhyped game? I don't know. It depends on what it delivers. That's where we'll find out if it's overrated or not. I mean, to me, it would be the one that you would call overrated would be if Last of Us 2 doesn't do well, that'll be an overrated game. The only thing that I don't like about Days Gone is that it's solo. Like, it's single player only. Like, that's a game where I would want to have a group of friends to destroy zombies, hordes and hordes of zombies. I understand it's stronger.
And you're a silly turkey Arab.
Okay.
So
yeah, Final Fantasy overrated
for me.
A
few more here.
Yeah,
so let's get through a few more. And I mean, if you're calling out like the big old deep cuts, I got the deepest cut, and I would be honestly surprised. Maybe Badly knows about this game. I played the shit out of this game when I was a kid on the Super Nintendo. It's Ogre Battle, March of the Black Queen.
This is when we're going back to underrated here.
Yeah, I feel like
Ogre Battle,
not underrated.
64.
Ogre Battle, March of the Black Queen.
March of the Black Queen.
Yeah.
So is this? What kind of game is it? That's what I want to know.
It is nothing like I think has existed or will exist.
Okay.
It's a real-time tactical role-playing video game. So, so the thrust of the story, besides the fact that it has a Queen song in its title, which is it a Queen? No, Led Zeppelin song in the title. Is
you talking about like the menu screen?
No, March of the Black Queen is a Led Zeppelin song.
Oh, gotcha.
So, at least I think it's Zeppelin.
We'll find out. Queen.
No, it is Queen. Okay, I was right the first time. So, so the gameplay of the game is that you are leading a rebellion against this kingdom, and you are leading an army, and all of the people in your army have like the sort of classic role-playing archetypes. So you have like fighters and clerics and wizards, but you can also get monsters and other like super fantastic creatures. You can then, like, as they gain experience, you can level them up, and you can like make them advance job wise. It's kind of like in a Final Fantasy 2 or 3, not like 2 or 3 in the United States, but 2 or 3 in Japan.
So
could like make them better.
Could I put some? I mean, is this like if D&D and Risk had a baby? And it was a video
more
game?
Like if Final Fantasy 3, I think.
I don't know Final Fantasy 3, damn it.
Okay. Phoenix.
I'm trying to go off role-play games that have classes.
So have you ever played a video game where you have... like, I don't even know how to really describe it. It's really hard to describe. And I think it's overwhelming in its complexity.
So is it like Warcraft 3, like the heroes are what you got, and that not the
maybe.
So like if so in Warcraft 3, if all you spawned were like millions, like like 100 of the Arthas heroes, right? Those are your fighters. That's what I'm saying. So it's like Warcraft 3 if it was just heroes that you were spawning, and a Risk had a baby. That's what you got here. Where you'd have like the archer. You could have like the archer bow lady.
It's Sylvanas, and one of those you have to like watch or play to really understand. So
this came out when I was 3.
Yeah, I mean, just, pull up your pull-ups and play the fucking game. I was 10, so fuck off. It's one of those games you just gotta play, and the thing about it is there's so much hidden stuff and so much complexity, and to win the game, you have to play it unoptimally. If as weird as that sounds. And in, back in the day when we didn't have, the internet and strategy guides, like it was like you'd play the game and you'd win and it would not be a good ending and you'd go like, what the fuck? What did I do wrong?
But you won?
I mean, you won the game, you beat the bad guy, but I could go on for like hours talking about this game, but it's just something like you have to play it in order to understand it.
Gotcha. So, overrated game, and this is gonna strike fear into, or anger into all the people that are in chat probably that enjoy this game. Rainbow Six Siege. I think it's overrated.
I got no arguments.
I think it's overrated. I don't think it's that. I mean, it's not that great of a game. It doesn't add anything different from all of the other shooters that are out there. I mean, it's just meh for me. I know Carr used to be a Rainbow Six Siege main streamer. Ark used to be a Rainbow Six Siege main streamer. It's just, I mean, I don't get the hype behind it. Like, I would rather them come out with a different Rainbow Six Siege every year rather than just adding new operatives into this one.
You know what's weird though, like, and we can talk about. I think this is probably a discussion for a completely different, conversation, but that's kind of where video games are going now. Where you see it like in games that I like Total War.
Mm-hmm.
You have Total War Warhammer, which had like 2 expansions, and then you had Total War Warhammer 2,
Mm-hmm.
which was in effect like in like Call of Duty lingo, it would be like a season's pass, where it introduced a lot of new content that you got sort of for free.
Right.
But you did really Total War 1 or Warhammer 1 to like use all of it.
Right. So so what that reminds me of is back in PlayStation 1 era. If you wanted to play Grand Theft Auto 2, you had to have played and beat Grand Theft Auto 1.
I mean, from a story, like to understand what's happening?
No. To literally play the game. It was like, hey, you don't have a Grand Theft Auto 1 save. You can't play.
Wow. Okay, so I'm not a GTA person. I've seen it played, never played it.
Theft Auto 2, I believe it was. Yeah, Grand Theft Auto 2. I mean, I could be completely wrong, but I remember like yeah, I don't. I could be completely wrong, but from what I remember, like you had to have beat Grand Theft Auto 1 or had a Grand Theft Auto 1 save on your system. And like, so for me, when this came out in the PS1 era, it was if the store that I went to didn't have to rent it, I was fucked. And they didn't have it. They didn't have Grand Theft Auto 1. So I was like, why do you have this game? Why do you have this game when you're just taking my money from me? Because I can't play it because it doesn't allow me to. I was like, it was mind blowing. But for me, like another overrated game, Grand Theft Auto 5. I think Grand Theft Auto 5 is the Rockstar Skyrim. I think they should have just released a new Grand Theft Auto on the PS4 and not remaster Grand Theft Auto 5. Honestly, just how I feel. War, evidently, if he's silent, doesn't have anything to say against that. Coco.
I don't have a whole lot to add to GTA. Like never my jam.
Right. So Coco, it's one of your favorite games. You said it is overrated. So so this is it's one of his favorite games, but he still thinks Grand Theft Auto 5 is overrated. Coco, now that you're back though, what do you mean by Borderlands is overrated? And what aspect is Borderlands overrated? Like overhyped or just didn't deliver what you were expecting from it? Def overhyped. Even Borderlands 1 you think was overhyped, or like because I could have swore you and Carr were saying the whole series.
Yeah, I don't. Oh man. So I think it promised a lot, and I think it underdelivered. I don't think they were not fun games to play. I had a lot of fun playing Borderlands 1 when I played it, but I think they were talking about having, what was it, like literal millions of guns or something?
The bazillions of guns.
Possible. Yeah. So not to be like, not let me push my glasses up my nose here, but like not to be a nerd, but the vast majority of them will be worthless, like as you saw in Anthem. So you have like combinations of things that like just don't make sense or don't work.
Yeah, Anthem is sadly dying, and I didn't put it on my overrated list because it's already dying, and I don't want to drag it through the mud any more than it already has to be. But yeah, I mean I guess I agree, but for me when they say bazillions of guns, I don't take that as like hype. I'm like, oh, they have lots of guns. Like there's different variations of it. Like, but for me in my head, my head goes, it's mathematically impossible for there to be that many guns. like, I mean, there's only so much.
I'm saying it's mathematically possible. So you have like, and this goes back to like Diablo 1, where you had descriptors that were put together and put on a weapon, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they were generally random. Like Path of Exile does it now. The thing about Path of Exile, which is cool, is you can re-roll it and you can just get something new if the one you get sucks, which is why Path of Exile is better than Diablo will ever be. But that's a completely different conversation.
Right. So Coco, why are games like Anthem, Borderlands, Division, and Destiny games that you won't get into? I mean, I not that I'm criticizing you. I just want to know your thought process behind it, because to me the looter shooter genre seems to be something that's hot most of the time for anybody at any year, any console generation. I don't care what you add to it. If it's like any of those games, it's not going to be interesting. I'm not going to be interested. Right? I mean, that's fine. I mean, because what was it? Who was I talking to the other night? We were talking about like they don't enjoy min maxing, and Cooch has been screaming it throughout the whole entire thing that Paragon is underrated. Paragon died. Paragon to me should have died. Epic didn't need that. They had Fortnite that was taking off and launching. Big community or not, it wasn't making the money. I mean, you just shoot, loot for better gear, cosmetics, no end game. It's the same thing over and over again. Yeah, I mean, I get that. That makes sense, but I mean, there is the story mode, so if you want to stick strictly to the story and not do any of the open world stuff, there is that, but though I do admit I'm a hypocrite, I play GTA and Siege. Yeah, I mean, GTA, there's the story to it, but then after the story, you just run around and do nothing. You don't have anything to collect other than if it's like Assassin's Creed. If you play Assassin's Creed, you can, once you beat the story mode, you can go collect all the collectible shit that they have throughout the map, but that's all you're doing. And then it's just, to me, that's not even the looter. That's not fun for me. I don't do that in any of the Assassin's Creed. I'm not a completionist. I don't have to complete it. I get bored.
But at the same time, back in, what the hell was it, 96? I want to say, when Diablo came out. No, was that 93? I don't even remember what year the OG Diablo came out. That originated that whole like looter.
Diablo 1. 96.
It was 96. Okay. I mean, technically 97. It was December 31st, 96. But, so, that game was awesome. And yeah, like that was the first time you had people that would play games over and over and over again to just loot, just get better loot, get better stuff.
Right.
And like it's taken a while. Like Diablo 1 came out, Diablo 2 came out, and then you had I don't know if Destiny was really the first one, but you had that move into like the FPS where now you had FPS games doing the same thing.
I think Borderlands was the first one.
Was it? Oh, that might be fair.
Borderlands came out way before Destiny did. Borderlands 1, at least, on the PS3.
Right.
Or, yeah, it was on the PS3. It was, early in the PS3 era that came out. Because, Borderlands 2 came out on the PS3 as well. They remastered the pre-sequel and Borderlands 2 into the Handsome Collection for PS4. But, yeah, Borderlands, I would say, would be closer to the first FPS that was a looter shooter.
But you have games like Diablo and Diablo 2. And I think the reason why Diablo 3 falls on both my under and overrated list, depending on when you picked it up, was because Diablo did it very well. They expanded what Diablo did well for Diablo 2 and added a lot more like multiplayer capabilities and things like that, and also made an expanded and extended story, which was awesome. And then Diablo 3, they decided to shoehorn in like microtransaction nonsense and make the story super short. And then nobody liked it. It got super hyped and then just got shit on when it came out. They rolled back a lot of the things that were awful. And a year later, especially with like Reaper of Souls and things like that, like Diablo 3 is a real good game if you pick it up right now for cheap. Is it better than the free-to-play Path of Exile, though? Hell no. If that's really what you're looking for, is the looter shooter, except not shooting, your like looter slasher, you can't beat Path of Exile.
Path of Exile is free?
Yeah.
I've never heard of this game.
You literally played it with me like 6 months ago.
Oh, that's this game. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, sure. No,
but Path of Exile is awesome. And then, they're up there with like Warframe for me.
They're
which is, go ahead.
They're re-releasing that on PS4, or they re-released it in March on PS4 on the 26th. So last Tuesday, Path of Exiles was released on PS4.
Nice.
That's why I was like, I've never heard of this game, because I was looking at the PS4. I wasn't thinking Microsoft and playing it on Steam with you. That's my bad. That's where I got lost for a second. I was like, it's on PS4. I've never heard of this. It's on PS4, but it just came out. So makes sense. But yeah, I mean, I see where this is, like that Warframe type game for you. For me, like playing it with you 6 months ago, it's so overwhelming to get into, because there's so much shit to learn. Like that's where I fall short with Warframe. And I don't think Warframe is either overrated or I think it's more underrated than it is overrated. I think Warframe being free to play, there's just so much content, but it's so hard to get into because there is so much shit to learn and to gain the systems of. And it's some of it's sometimes confusing at times and it just overwhelms me a ton for Warframe. But I love the gameplay. I love because I love Anthem. And that's the reason I love Anthem is because of the Warframe-esque movement in Anthem. Rest in peace.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Like you know, one of the reasons I really like playing Apex is it feels, aside from the fact that you're not a magical space ninja, like Warframe from a movement perspective.
Okay, yeah, I can see like Warframe and Titanfall had a baby, and that's where Apex came in because they got rid of the wall running, sadly. But I understand why they got rid of the wall running because it wouldn't. I don't think it would fit very well in this game.
Yeah, I feel you there.
So Cooch keeps bringing it up. Cooch loved this game, Paragon. Do you know? Did you play Paragon at all?
I did not, but from what I understand, it was sort of like a Smite style, like MOBA.
Yeah, it's a third person perspective MOBA. I always kind of uh, compared it to League of Legends because it's that I didn't play Smite until after I played this, and I knew of League of Legends. And Cooch was super pissed off when Epic just shut this game down because he was in love with it. For me, what and I was talking about this in the game discussions in the TC Discord was that there's the card system in it throws me off. I think if they were to have no card system and you just unlock, once you leveled up, you unlocked your special abilities that your character has, it would have been a lot more fun for me because I always felt like I was doing something wrong with the card system that they had because it's just so weird that it was so foreign to me with the card system.
So is that like the loot system? Or not loot, like you'd buy stuff and upgrade your guy?
Yeah, so like when you level up, you can unlock like different abilities that the character has. And there's but there's a card system behind it as well that gives you like different bonuses to like where you can have health regen and stuff like that. So it's just I don't know, there was just so much that lost it for me.
I mean, that game looks super dope though.
It's a very beautiful game. So my two downfalls are the card system that it has, and it had one map. It didn't have any other map on it. It was just one map that they essentially reskinned after like once or twice. But for me, it was always
yeah. I mean, to be fair, League of Legends has been out for like 10 years now. They have one map.
See, I've never played. I never played League, so I wouldn't know that. But for me, it's like for me, like with the lanes of that they have, I just feel it would. I don't understand why it's that hard to make a couple of different variations of the map.
Yeah. So, and badly, if you're still there, that's something that Blizzard struggled with for a really long time. Like one of the biggest differentiators for Heroes of the Storm. Yeah, so you're still here. One of the biggest differentiators for Heroes of the Storm was the fact that Dota and League had one map, and Heroes has 6 or 7 maps now, and they all have to be balanced, and they have to be tuned, and they have to be like if you were dropped in like after 5 minutes, you should be able to understand what like you have like how that map plays and how that map feels. And that was one of the things that like if people coming from League like either turned them on or turned them very off to Heroes, was the fact that you didn't not only have to know like a hero's kit, but you also had to understand the map, and there was map-based objectives and different things that would happen or different like at different times or different objective unlocks. Where League and Dota don't have any of that.
Right. So I guess this is where I would like where my thought process is with it. Even if they reskinned the same map that they had, like, you know, made some of the geometry a little different in some areas, but reskinned the same map layout, so it's you're always dropping into the same map, but it's, you know, like, 'cause they have, let's see, let's Paragon video game. They have they don't have a character list, of course they don't, because it's dead. Paragon Heroes MOBA. So they, I mean, so they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 4 times 9 plus 2. I mean, they have
38.
They have 38 different characters, right? Some of them, granted, are going to be from the same planet.
Archetype.
Well, the same planet, right? So that's what I'm kind of like. So I think Lieutenant Bellic and Murdoch are like part of the same police force, essentially, right? That's their lore behind those two characters. But if I'm looking at like Grux, right? Grux was the character that I played as because he reminded me, and he actually had a skin that looked like God of War. So, because he had like a red tattoo and stuff like that, I was like, oh, so he's God of War because he literally goes pale white and then red tattoo. So this is who I played as, but like, so for me, it's like make one of the maps, like one of the renders of the map, his home planet. Same map layout, just the geometry changes to be his home.
That's fair. So you don't get bored looking at the same map over and over and over again.
Right.
I can see that. That's fair.
So, but so do that for a number of your characters that you have, right? You know, you have 38 characters. Make six different maps, or you know, that are different planets. That, you know, like where the fuck did Zinx come from? What does her planet look like? Show me that. You know, show me, you know, different geometry and stuff like that. That's I think if they would have done that with that game, if they would do that with League, I think, you know, that would be something like it's the same map layout but just different aesthetics. It's gonna be more refreshing every time you go into a new game, if it's not the same shit over and over and over again. That's, you know, that's the way that I look at it, or that I look at the new map thing, like Revenant. Like, this guy looks like he's from hell. Do a map that looks like you're in hell. Like, you know, easy clap on, you know, how to do stuff, you know, different shit like that. Like, this guy looks creepy as fuck. Like, he looks like he's a demon, or like a demon hunter or whatever the fuck he's supposed to be. But I just, you know,
Van Helsing.
Right? He's Van Helsing from hell. Yeah,
So you know, something reminded me, like a game that I thought so little about after it came out and failed. You know, scrolling through here reminded me. I don't know, like I'm pretty sure, unless I don't know, you know, the people who we hang out with very much or very well at all, but like Artifact was so hyped. They tried so hard to get that game, to make that game a thing, and it just shit so hard. It was way too complicated. It was a cash grab. Like, it was free to play, but it was one of those games like, yeah, free to play, but there's no way you can really play on a free to play account.
You got to pay to win, essentially.
Oh, not pay to win, pay to compete.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, yeah. So this is where, like, when I come into when people ask me about Pokemon, right? When I think about Pokemon, I think about the cards because that was what came out when I was younger. I remember the cards. I remember Magic the Gathering. I remember there was another one that I thought there was. I know, but the name is
Well,
slipping.
back in the day, like, I mean, you had Pokemon. I think it was a Digimon card game. But my big three, and yeah, I'm gonna push my tape together glasses back up my nose. We had Magic the Gathering, which sucked a lot of my allowance money.
Mm-hmm.
And then you had I was firmly in the camp of the Star Wars customizable card game, where a
Okay.
lot of my friends were firmly in the camp of the Star Trek customizable card game.
Okay.
But yeah,
So the one that I was thinking of, or it was Pokemon, like Yu-Gi-Oh, and Magic the Gathering were like the three that I knew of growing up. I never got into them. I think my mom bought me Pokemon cards once, and I was like, "Why?" Like the art's cool, sure. And like my uncle had Magic the Gathering cards that I found that he left at the house, and I was like, the artwork's awesome. I love the artwork, but it's not like I don't understand what the fuck this does. Like, and I don't want to take the time to learn it. So like when I say I was because I said it earlier, I was like I compared it to like you play Heroes of the Storm, so this is more like your type of game. You know this game, right? You know Magic the Gathering. You probably I'm sure I don't know if you maybe you didn't, but Gwent. I don't know if you tried that out.
never played it, but yeah, I'm familiar, and you can play it inside of The Witcher. So yeah.
Right, but it's just like there's these card games that I'd be lost to even start in this.
Yeah, so the thing about like card games like this is, you know, it's one of those things that the longer they go on, the more difficult and almost impossible it is to manage,
Mm-hmm.
unless you do things um, like Magic and in Hearthstone. They have like a standard rotation where these cards are okay in standard, the rest are like shuffled off to like legacy decks or something like that, where you
Right.
can't use them because otherwise your design space ends up collapsing to zero. Like
Right.
you cannot design any new cards because there's too many variables to calculate how the possible interactions you can have. And then you have guys like Toast and Crip, who once the Hearthstone expansion comes out, like badly remembers, like I quit playing Hearthstone I quit playing Hearthstone after the latest expansion because it got kind of tired and old for me, and I wasn't really into it. But when the the I don't remember, the Something Woods expansion came out,
Mm-hmm.
um I legit stopped playing for a month because they had one card that like literally broke the game. Like if you could land the combo,
Mm-hmm.
so like Toast like found the combo, exploited it, played the card, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
called Shutterwalk. I don't know if anybody in the chat's familiar with Shutterwalk, but you play Shutterwalk. He literally got up from his computer, made himself a coffee, made himself a snack, and came back, and his turn wasn't over yet because of how exploitive that card was.
Hmm.
And the thing is, like, your opponent can't leave the game either. They're stuck dying until like some artificial limit is met in the game, and then they die. Like that card should have never come out of QA. Like their QA engineers or game testers like are either super inexperienced or super overworked because it took him like less than half a day. No, I think like right when he first saw it, he was like, this plus this plus this plus this means there's nothing you can do. I win the game.
Right. Yeah, that's. I mean, this is. This is a realm that I never. I was like, I tried playing Gwent inside of Witcher 3, and I was like, I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing. I lost every time. We'll put it that way because
Yeah.
I had no idea what the fuck I was doing. maybe people have exploited games since the dawn of man. Yeah, I mean every game has an exploit in it. I mean people get in trouble for it, or it happens every so often in fucking Fortnite. There's an exploit that comes out that Tfue uses. You know, it's I mean, and it's nothing against Tfue. It's in the game. He's not breaking the rules. It's an exploit that got through QA, and it probably shouldn't have gotten through QA, and it's not his fault that he just stumbled upon it. I mean,
Well, stumbling upon an exploit and using an exploit are two totally different things, in my opinion.
but I mean, so this is where I would go with, if it's in the game, I mean, it's not like he shouldn't be allowed to use it.
Well, okay, so
It's not like he's hacking, right? I mean,
well, okay, that's fair, but like, so when like Toast found the Shutterwalk exploit, I think it was Toast. I don't know, maybe it was Toast and Crip at the same time. Were like, this is stupid and broken. Blizzard came out and was like, this is working as designed, and so they were like, okay, we're just going to use this and just crush people.
mm-hmm.
And then you had basically decks that had that card and had that combo, and decks that were designed to stop that combo, and those are the only two decks that existed for a very long time.
Right. Yeah, I mean, but I'm just saying, like, I mean, I guess to me, exploiting exploits is not as bad as people that hack in like in like Apex or Fortnite. I mean, because like I watched on Car6's stream the other night. Somebody sent in two people that were speed hacking in Apex, and they were literally darting around and like moving so fast on the map that it was ridiculous. So, play Magic at a top level Thursday. There are three decks run in tourney.
And honestly, like, when your game devolves into rock paper scissors, then it's like stops being interesting to me.
Right. So, get a little bit back on topic here. I mean, this is a game that I would think is slightly overrated / slightly underrated, and it would be the Friday the 13th video game. I
don't have any context for that because I did not play it, but go ahead.
So I mean I thoroughly enjoyed the game. I think they had a lot of promise on it. I think what makes it like where it's overrated is because now they can't update it and they can't add new stuff to it because of the lawsuit that happened that essentially halted all production, and they told both the studios that were working on it that they couldn't update it anymore. They can update it for like, you know, the life of the game and, you know, to keep the game alive, but they can't add new content.
All right, so like bug fixing, but no new content.
Right. So like they had a whole roadmap out, but they can't do anything with it because of this lawsuit. And like from what I understand, they settled the lawsuit, but it's still like the law, you know, with what the lawsuit is, they can't do anything else with it. So it's just
I never got into it, but
well, it's essentially like Badly Fed said, it sparked Dead by Daylight. So this was announced before Dead by Daylight was, from what I understand, and like this is supposed to be pretty awesome. And then Dead by Daylight was like, we're gonna do the same thing, but we're not gonna include in the main game. We're not gonna include any killers that you would know from like an actual franchise. The DLCs then brought in the killers from the franchises that they could, which is why you'll never see Jason in Dead by Daylight.
I think they probably did some legalese, some lawyering around that, because like the hillbilly is definitely from Texas Chainsaw Massacre. He runs around with a chainsaw.
Right, but they added Leatherface. To me, I would say the hillbilly is more from Hills Have Eyes.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, but I mean, like a generic hillbilly with a chainsaw. I mean, you know what you mean, but they're not explicitly saying like it's from this franchise.
Right. Yeah. For me, when I see hillbilly, I immediately think of Hills Have Eyes or like Wrong Turn. like where they're actually like hillbillies in the not and then like because Leatherface, yes, he's a hillbilly, but he's not like that type of hillbilly.
Yeah, well, and then you also had like as the game got popular enough and they had weight to throw around, like they approached Halloween. It was like, we want Mike Myers and Laurie. Yeah.
Yep.
In the game. And included them in the game.
Right, and then like the same thing. Well, I don't know. I think they don't think they added a character in, but with Freddy. I mean, they got Freddy, they got Leatherface. Like they have they have the good characters. And to me, what is it? Let's go here. Dead by Daylight Clown. This motherfucker is just John Wayne Gacy.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah.
I mean,
yep.
Who else would that be? Or the clown from fucking Spawn? But I mean, he's not a killer like that.
The clown from Spawn something completely different, which is a movie they really need to remake.
Right. Because
that's
underrated movie, Spawn.
I'd say that until they bust out with that like 1994 CGI, and then it's like it's so good.
Well, right, but it's underrated. It's a good movie, but it's it was so. I'm not even gonna get into it because I'm gonna save that for another episode. Underrated, overrated movies. We're gonna go there. I'm gonna strike one of these off my list because I don't think it's. Now that I'm thinking about it, I don't think it's underrated. I put Mafia 3 in there. It's a great game, but I don't think it was underrated or overrated. I think it was just like kind of fair where it was. No studio owns John Wayne.
Yeah, John Wayne Gacy. Like, I don't think there's been. I mean, there's been biographical movies, but no one says like I have creative control over like John Wayne Gacy.
Oh, and I don't know if you'd want creative control over that. That'd be like saying I want creative control over Ted Bundy and Jeffrey Dahmer, please.
I mean Netflix.
True.
So let's get a couple more and we can wrap, because you're trying to wrap up at an 11, right?
Yeah, I mean if we go over, it's not a big deal. We go a couple minutes over. I don't want to go too far over. But so my last underrated game that I have on here is Mad Max.
Underrated?
Yeah. I mean, it got high scores from review wise.
Right, but I haven't played it.
Right. So I mean, so it's underrated, right? I mean, it's a great game, but I mean, how much marketing did you hear about this?
I didn't even know it existed until you just said something.
That's why it's number one on my list. Number one on the list, Mad Max. It's an open world Mad Max game. I mean, Avalanche Studios did a great job with it. I don't know if you're not into that type of game, you could probably watch a trailer and be like, it looks like it could be a good game. Not my type of game. I mean, you literally have an upgradable car, all that fun stuff.
Give me an upgradable car and guns and gasoline.
Yeah, that's essentially what it is. And then you got a guy that
sounds dope to me.
Then you got a guy that rides on your car and throws spears off it.
It's a Mad Max movie.
Yeah. But like this guy
fixes your car and stuff. I don't know why you would not want to play this game. And I probably would play it if I knew it existed.
I mean, you can get it on Steam.
If it's like $5, I might buy it. I might pick it up and be thoroughly underrated. Well, like confirm you're underrated.
It's $20.
I don't know if I don't know. I don't know if it's $20, but I feel like that was I feel like that's I know your birthday now, Don.
That's not my birthday.
Um,
I put in a fake birthday. It was on stream. I mean, okay. Can we talk about how overrated the birthday thing is on mature content, like on the
yeah,
internet?
I mean, literally,
Give
I
me
just pick the year slider and just scroll down until it's greater than 18.
Right,
Like,
right. I'm like, who's this stop? I was 12. Who is this stopping? This is stopping no one. Yeah,
but, I mean, speaking of another movie, like, it's not even like the same genre, but like what was it? Riddick Butcher Bay, I think it was. That game was like super good, and like not a lot of people played it. 2Ds.
So I knew.
Yeah, Escape from Butcher Bay.
Yeah, I think I played. There was another Riddick game. This one, Assault on Dark Athena, is the one that I played. I didn't play Butcher Bay.
Huh. Yeah, I didn't even know that one existed. I know Butcher Bay because somebody, like one of my buddies, like played it and was like, dude, you gotta play this game, it's so good.
Yeah, no, I never played it. I didn't play. Oh, I didn't play it because it was an Xbox exclusive. That's why.
Yeah, I did not own a PlayStation until PlayStation 3, and my wife got it on Black Friday, I want to say. She thought what was the little like sock men or like the stuffed dudes?
Oh, that was I was gonna put that on one of my overrated games, but I didn't. I took it off for something else. Little Big Planet.
Yes.
Great game.
Like she bought it for that because it was like super cute.
There's nothing to it.
But at the same time, like she grew up and she loved games like Abe's Odyssey and things like that too. So those side scroller platformer games, like those are her jam.
Right.
Like she plays the shit out of Ori.
Right, which is why I'm saying that it's a great game. It's just they're like for a hardcore gamer like me, like it was fun for the first the first month. I think this is the first game that I ever platinumed though.
We got a hardcore gamer here.
Hardcore gamer. I mean that's why I never played Nintendo, like the Wii or the Wii U, is because it was more family driven gaming, right? There wasn't a lot of like hardcore action games on Wii U or Wii, so I stayed away from them.
Yeah, that's fair. Like I was like just going back to like what we were talking about before, like a lot of these games, and then if you notice, like a lot of the games that I'm talking about were from like 2004 and 2005 and stuff, when I was actually still playing like these sorts of games.
Right.
And like as of late, I either play like free to play co-op games, like with Badly, because I don't really want to spend the money, or time to get into them. And games that I can just pick up and play are awesome.
Right.
Or games that are super immersive and like super time consuming, like Grand Strategy. So like almost anything from Paradox Interactive or like Sid Meier, like Civilization, or like Total War. It's like stuff that I play by myself. Like those are games that I'm like super into, though, to be totally honest.
Right. Yeah, and that's where you gotta be in that type of, like, for Little Big Planet, you have to want to play that type of game, and you have to know what you're getting into to play that type of game.
Yeah, so like I think I was joking, and I don't know if it was Twitch crew chat or whatever, but like I was like I could stream Crusader Kings or Europa. But to someone who's not really into it, it looks just like a giant, map paint by number simulator. To be totally honest, because you're just looking at a giant map, like it's like super Risk.
Right.
And some people that just doesn't like float their boat, but I like playing it.
So. Exactly, and that's so it's like one of my I think I have 3 more overrated games. We'll put 2 of them out there at the same time because most of them are now turning into remasters. Halo and Resident Evil.
Overrated?
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here.
I Resident Evil, I don't understand why they don't just expand on the story more instead of remastering the older games.
Yeah, so Resident Evil,
give me new content.
I feel like they are, and I feel like they are trying to go back to the old style by like remastering Resident Evil 2.
Right.
Because the later Resident Evil games went so far away. Like Resident Evil 7 is a perfect example. Went totally back to like the early Resident Evil 1, 2, and like 3 style, and like Silent Hill, which was like a cousin, but the same sort of top-down play style. Well, 5 and 6 they just turned into action games. And you shoot zombies. So if I want to do that, I'd play something fucking different.
Right. So let's preface this too. I think when they first came out, they weren't overrated. They were, because video games were kind of when like the first Resident Evils were coming out, we're kind of on a hush, like we don't want to know people to know that we play video games, right? It was so it wasn't really overrated at that time. Like, but now, like, because people want it to go back to that, to me, it's just like, I want new content. Like, so Resident Evil 7, I haven't played it, so I would give Resident Evil 7 a shot, but, like, bringing out Resident Evil 2, and, like, they're going to remaster, like, Resident Evil 4 or some shit like that. It's like, stop remastering games. Give me new content. I want to play a new game that, resembles what this game was, not play this game over again. That's where I get my overrated with them remastering all the Halos. Like, stop. Just focus on bringing out the new Halo. Like,
no, listen. Me and my good buddy Master Chief will like shoot some flood, okay? Because they're too scary.
Right, but
I feel like Badly is the only person in this chat that will get that shit, and I'll send you a link after.
Okay, I'll be waiting for it. But still, like, just focus on the new one. Like, quit giving me the same shit that I've already played before. I know the storyline. Give me a new story. Like, because with Halo, it's more story than it is, I'm talking story-wise. Like, people love the PvP, but, when was the last Halo that was the PvP was good? Wasn't it, like, Halo, like, There hasn't been a Halo where the PvP wasn't like, oh, we gotta play the PvP. It's really good. Like,
yeah, the thing is, like, the simplicity of Halo 1's multiplayer, like Red versus Blue, like, just
right. I'm not saying that like I said, I'm not saying that I don't like these games, because I do like the simplicity of the Red versus Blue. Like, I love team deathmatch. When I play Call of Duty Black Ops 4. Team deathmatch all day long. Like, I don't care for the other play modes. I just like to play team deathmatch. Like, that's my jam when it comes to PvP. Is more of a just shoot shit, don't die, as much as possible. Like, that's where I enjoy PvP the most. But I don't remember Halo where they've been like, oh, the PvP is amazing, like. They're, because they've tried to do different shit with the PvP after,
Wait, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, Halo 1, was it 3 that had the gravity hammer?
Right. No, I'm talking, like, recently.
Yeah, oh, yeah. So,
I'm talking
recently, Halo has been a fucking dumpster fire.
Right, but they're remastering all these ones. Like, I don't want a remaster. I want a new Halo.
Yeah, because now we're all old enough to rebuy the fucking games on our new consoles that we bought.
Right, but I don't want to do that. That's what I don't. I want a new game. I want a new game that gives me that nostalgic feel, but has new content to it. What's going on
Nah,
next?
dude,
How's it
they're gonna
going,
come
bud?
out with fucking Halo Battle Royale with the
Hey,
Master Chiefs.
wasn't Halo essentially a battle royale in the first place?
I mean, if you want to be like super like
Low level battle
deathmatch,
royale.
like any deathmatch is a battle royale. It's just like not any sort of massive scale.
Okay, so compared to my last overrated game, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 4, right? You load in with your guns, right? You can pick up other guns when you run out of ammo, but you load in with your gun set.
Okay? So are you talking about? Okay, I think we need to break Modern Warfare 4 into 3 different games. You have the single player, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which I have no context for, but I heard it was pretty good. It was short.
Who has context for any Call of Duty single player story mode? They're all an hour and a half.
I like playing single player, but yeah, they're all like an hour and a half.
I did too, but it was just so it was like it was over. I just got into it, and it's like, okay, you're done now. Like, no, I just started.
But and then you have the traditional multiplayer, which I think is okay. It's like an iteration more than a complete like revolutionary different sort of multiplayer.
Right.
And then Fortnite got big, so they tacked on fucking Blackout, which is awful.
Right. But what I'm saying is, like, so you go back to Halo 1 or Halo 2, right? Where you load into the map and you might have a pistol, right, to start off.
Right, you have like I think it's like you start with a pistol, which was still a really good gun, but whatever.
Right, no, it's still a really good gun, but you run around, you find rocket launchers, you find the battle rifle and stuff like that. Essentially, if you didn't do teams, that was a battle royale. Just not on a large scale of 99 players.
Right.
So, I mean, battle royale's been around for a long time, just underrated hidden in Halo. But yeah, Call of Duty Modern Warfare was my last overrated game. I don't understand why they had to remaster Call of Duties. Just make a new one and don't fuck it up like you did Black Ops 4.
Yeah, you just gotta get more of our money, Don.
And I don't know if they really fucked up Black Ops 4. I think what they did was that they focused, like, because I talked about this with Brizzle, they focused way too much on Blackout instead of trying to, like, because they left their PvP alone for months. I mean, months. They didn't touch it. They didn't do gun balancing or anything. So it's like,
I feel like they spent all this time and effort, and I'm gonna finish. I think I'm gonna finish your story for you, but they spent all this time and effort on Blackout, and then Apex drops, and they're like, "Well, shit."
right.
And they just flip the desk, and they're like, "Well,
revamp PvP, revamp multiplayer. Let's redo this. Let's save Black Ops 4."
Battle Royale is gone.
Right.
We lose this one. Good try.
So yeah, it's just, I mean, I just went like Modern Warfare 4. I'm like, I remember playing it. But I'm not gonna go through the story mission. It's an hour and a half. I'm not gonna pay $60 to play an hour and a half story mission, and then maybe have fun with the PvP for a little bit. Like, because in those games I didn't like PvP. I didn't like I hated Call of Duty back when it was like really popular when it first came out, because I would walk out and then all of a sudden get sniped in the face, and I was like, fuck that, I'm done. Like, I don't have a sniper rifle. I can't snipe you in the face. So I got bored with it that fast. And Black Ops 4 was the first one I played. And I think when I was talking about this with Brizzle, Black Ops 4 was the first Call of Duty I played, like PvP wise, in 10 years. I boycotted them from 2009 till when they dropped that one, or 2008, whatever you want to fucking call it, when I graduated high school. But yeah, I'm
so old. Okay, well. That was fun. Being old. Talking about you kids with your video games.
You young whippersnappers.
I remember when Lara Croft was all triangles.
I remember that too.
But,
she was all triangles, but we still thought she was hot. But
I mean, that's fair. That's fair. And also, can we talk about like why the fuck was there a Tyrannosaurus Rex in like OG Tomb Raider? Like,
no one knows.
You're not going like back in time, Laura. You just go into a fucking like castle in the jungle.
I mean,
why is there a Tyrannosaurus Rex there?
What is it, like the Lost World or Hidden? Like there's the what was it? There's a TV show about it.
Oh, what is? Yeah. I know what you mean. Whatever.
I don't remember the name of the TV show. It was a staple to watch at our house. The Lost World. That's what it was called. Yeah, The Lost World. We used to watch this all the time after school.
Oh yeah.
Where like they had a pet dinosaur and shit like that.
No, I'm thinking of a different one. So again, from me being super old, I'm talking about Land of the Lost.
Nope, that's the one I'm talking about too. That's the one. Yeah, that's it. Land of the Lost. Yep, this is it.
Yeah.
And then they remade it in 2009. Sadly. I don't think it did well. I enjoy Will Ferrell, but I don't think it did well as a remake.
Yeah, it was a thing that happened.
Yeah.
All right, so you have any final words, final notes on games that was your honorary mentions on either way?
I mean, honorary mentions, man, I felt like you said, it was so hard to come up with. I mean, I came up with 10 on both lists, but I mean, it was hard. I had to look up. I was like, for like my underrated ones, I went back and I looked at my trophies on my PlayStation and I was like, what games have I fucking played that I know my friends didn't like, that I was like, man, I thought it was a great game. So to me, that was underrated, but that's how I went about finding this stuff. Like, I mean, overrated game every year, Madden, FIFA, NBA.
Yeah, some of the Euros will fight you over FIFA though.
What the fuck do they change? Other than a little boost in graphics, if that, what the fuck changes every year that you need to drop a new Madden? Where they couldn't just do a massive roster update and send in,
listen,
here's the draft.
CEO for Electronic Arts needs to upgrade his yacht. Okay. Right. Yearly maintenance on a yacht's are super expensive. Okay.
Right. I'm just saying, like, that's why, like, I think I bought one. I think I bought Madden in 17. That's the last Madden I bought.
Yeah, I think I'm at like a 3 or 4 year cycle on, like, I get an itch to play Madden and then I buy it.
Right.
Usually like when the playoffs start to kick in, so it's like half price. It's like $30 or something, and then I play it and I'm like, why the fuck did I buy this? It's the same game that I played 20 years ago.
Right.
Except with better graphics.
I think what was the first one where they added in the story mode? I think it wasn't at 18 that was the first one they added it in. Yeah. So I bought Madden 18 because I wanted to see what their story mode was about. Their story mode, so overrated. The story mode was complete garbage. I understand where they were trying to go with it being a story, but like, their story mode is essentially Metal Gear Solid.
Wait, what?
It's all cutscenes.
Oh.
And 2 minutes of gameplay.
I was like, what the fuck are these, like, football players hiding in cardboard boxes?
Yes.
And like,
yes. Exactly it. No, it just, I mean, it's all cutscenes, and then you get to, here, do this passing drill. We'll see.
Oh,
We'll
okay.
see how well we grade you on this. Like,
And then go back to your box.
right? Like, no, like,
Because you're in college and you can't afford anything because you're not being paid.
so what?
But that is a completely different conversation.
So this is what I wish Madden would do. Take a page out of fucking 2K's book with the NBA games and do a my career mode. Give me,
Yeah, you can do that, but you got to buy a completely separate game called NCAA football.
well, they don't even make that anymore.
What? Oh, they don't?
No, NCAA got shut down after 14.
Shows you the last time I bought a Madden game.
NCAA football video game. Like, this Gridiron Champions is supposed to be coming out next year, and it's supposed to be essentially replacing, but it doesn't have any of the actual college teams. It's just a football game with players in it. That's it's supposed to be college. Wow. So recruiting and stuff like that. But yeah, NCAA football died because of a lawsuit. So 14 was the last one. Cooch is very sad about this. NCAA removed all their, they withdrew everything and would not renew the licensing contracts with EA. Because see if we can find it. Future series player names, real specific likeness, not used. So there was a player that came out and was like, they tried to sue EA for using their likeness in the game and them not getting paid for it, and it turned into a whole thing of all these players trying to sue EA for money.
Yeah, and that goes back to the conversation that people have had about just how completely messed up the state of college sports are. And I feel like, I don't know if Cooch is still around, but if Cooch and Nines want to do like a special 2 men in a football or 2 men in a sports show about like an opinion piece on that, I would 100% listen to it, because it is like just a super fantastic topic of how bad like the NCAA is completely screwing these players.
Yeah, well, I mean, we can talk after the show about that, because yeah, I have my thoughts on that too, but mine kind of counteract yours. But chat, we're gonna end it there. That's Studio44, overrated, underrated games by the Don44, myself, and War on Thursday, who was on voice chat. I was gonna have him on video chat, but I'm bad at this, and I'm bad at this thing. So we're gonna go raid somebody. We're gonna call it a night, and we'll be back next Wednesday for another Studio44. Not sure what the topic will be. Not sure who the co-host will be, but we'll figure it out.
I sent you that video too, Don. By the way, it's very funny.
So yeah, I'll see you guys later. If you want to hang out, we can talk after, and I'll tell you my opinion on NCAA football.